All right, so this is part 2 of a very fun, very deep interview for our YouTube audience with myself, Kiana Reeves. I'm the Chief Education Officer here at Foria, and our 2 founders, Jon Brandon and Mathew Gerson. And we're going to talk in this part of our interview around our ingredients, our ethos, our relationship to sustainability, our responsibility to the planet and to the earth, to the people we serve, and then a little bit more about the future for you, where we're looking, where we're excited, the things that matter to us.
Are we going to talk about sex at all, Kiana?
No, I mean, we talk about sex all day long. Do
It's
we
just,
need
yes. Is this
I'm
all?
assuming people tuned in for that. So.
We've lost
We can.
listening audience by now.
We might talk about sex, you guys, so stay tuned. It'll be a surprise sex in the middle of this interview. So let's talk about the plants, because that's been in the first part of this interview, we talked about our mission and our dedication to serving the people, but we also have this huge mission and dedication to serving the planet, and the plants that we work with have so much intelligence, and we have so much respect for them. And in a way, we're just supporting and serving the plants in the way that they have always nurtured humans. So I would love if you guys could talk about why our commitment to all natural plant-based ingredients has been at the heart of the brand since the very beginning.
Kiana,
I used to talk to the farmer garden.
Yeah. Let's go to the farmer gardener.
Boy, yeah.
What was one of our favorite lines, Kiana? We said, plants invented sex. We just made it a little bit better. Something.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so 1.2 billion years ago, plant was just one giant oceanic orgy of procreation driven by algae. That was it. That's all that was going on. That was 24/7 for how many millennia? It was just again and again and again. It was procreative, and that was the origination of sexual reproduction, which ultimately led to animals and our kind, which is like a truth, right? This is not like a mythology. So from those algae setting forth, they literally had sperm. They were plants. We're using water to move sperm around to like reproduce and cross-pollinate their genes to create more complexity, create more diversity. So therein lies strength, therein lies multiplicity and opportunity, and the whole crazy imaginal mind of the planet gave rise to all these life forms. But before that, there was pollen, which was like the first Mile High Club, a participant. It was like food sex, but you actually got the person pregnant, right? So that's what it was. So you imagine you're like spraying pollen into the air, and it's just like now it's riding in the sky, and it's working, and it's like finding partners, and it's reproducing, and they're crossing their genetics, they're crossing their information. I mean, it's totally mysterious. It's totally fascinating. And we haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet, which is the angiosperms, right? So the angiosperms come online, and what are they? They actually are the first. They're basically pimps for the first sex workers, which were bees. Like the original sex workers on the planet were the bees. Like they entice other creatures to like do their bidding, and to use the desires of these other creatures by giving them sweets and nectars and beautiful pheromones and smells. And they were beautiful. They're flowers. They're like flowers everywhere. This whole planet is flowers. But for what? Not just for bouquet, to attract a pollinator, to like spread their information, to spread their creativity, to spread their juice, to like get the goodness out there, and make it richer and make it more profound and make it more fun. And all of that, without any of that, there wouldn't be us. So yeah, it's a cheeky thing to say that we work. What do we say? We work for the plants.
Yeah.
But they have done the work. And I think all of that aside, plants as laboratories, plants as the original scientists, plants that created the phytochemicals, plants that created the precursor molecules for 50 to 75% of our pharmaceutical repertoire, with hard science. Like these plants created these magnificent compounds that happen to interact with our bodies, and they can do wonderful things. So, plants before pills or plants after pills. whatever way you want to come at it.
Or plant has pills.
Or
which
plant
happens
has pills if you want to go right into the heart of it. So, we found ourselves, betrothed. We were like of cannabis. It's like the Handmaid's Tale. We were of cannabis. We were of hemp. We belonged to this plan that gave us this mandate to take forth its offerings into the world and to spread them, just like a pollinator. So we were the sex workers of these plants. Because if you read Pollen's books, like the more successful we are at spreading that goodness, the more successful the plant will be. So we know that. So you think about, why do we get into sexuality? Why do we get into menstrual pain? Why do we get into anxiety? Why do we get into sleep? Why do we get into these things? We didn't choose it. These were the things that the plants that we were betrothed to had to offer us. They were on offer. And so that's where we put our focus. And to this day, like, we are trying to harness this spectacular, spectrum of benefits from these certain plants and make the highest quality products with the highest standards, with the most transparency that has ever existed in the sexual wellness space, bar none. To this day, I want to own it and speak it. We came into an industry that was so filled with crap for your body, that was mostly filled with dyes and petrochemicals and adulterated chemicals. Nobody was thinking about the health outcomes of the individuals. It was just selling against shame, selling against price point, selling against the race to the bottom. The incentives were totally misaligned with the things that we cared about. And we said, that's not what we're going to do here. Like, we're going to set standards so far and above where this industry is, and it's going to take a long time for their industry to catch up. And people might not even care about these standards being this high, but we do. And we've stayed there to this day. And sustainability for us has never been a destination. That's bullshit. There's no sustainable companies. There's companies that orient towards becoming more and more sustainable as they grow and develop and get smarter. And so it's a process. It's a process.
I love that. I love it so much. And it's something that's so meaningful, because we do have to name, we're in a precarious time on Earth. We just are. And capitalism by its very nature is extractive. And so the orientation towards always doing better, instead of declaring this is clean, this is sustainable, right? It's just another form of marketing, right? And this is for our customers and for our audience, when you go into a store and you see label clean and you see, this green check mark, and you feel good about your purchase, that's great. But just know that it's a step towards something better. But there is still impact, and there is always impact. And so looking for brands that are always doing their best to do more, always choosing organic ingredients, which is something that has been so important to us, always making our products with the most holistic way that we can extract and honor the compounds as they live together inside of a plant versus these isolates, it's really important to us, because we know our participation has impact, and it has value, and it has benefit, but it also has impact. So how do we do our best to mitigate that has been something central to our conversation for this past decade. And I want to center something that kind of popped into my head while we were talking.
Oh, good.
Which is in the age of plant medicine, right? Which we are all beneficiaries of, which we all have sat with many different plants. I sat this morning with tea, and I was thinking about, and have been thinking about for the last many months, drinking tea, how much it teaches me. This single individual plant that has such historic knowledge. Some of the tea plants are thousands of years old, and they're taking information into their body and sharing it with us through their leaves, which is what every plant on this earth does. It takes the information and the wisdom of the soil beneath it, the mycelial networks, all of these incredible elements, brings it into its body, mixes with the water and the sunlight, mixes with the air that it breathes, and then holds that wisdom in its leaves, in its bark, in its roots. And that is plant medicine. Plant medicine is not exclusively how we're relating to it nowadays, with cannabis being one of the first legalized kind of psychotropic or hallucinogenic, not hallucinogenic, but psychoactive plant experiences. or psilocybin, which is another really exciting plant compound, or ayahuasca. Probably many of our customers have experiences with those. Many of our customers do not. But the language around plant medicine currently kind of gears towards these plants that give you these really life-altering psychoactive experiences. And I think our relationship with plant medicine is understanding that like all plants are medicine, and all plants that humans have been in relationship with for hundreds of thousands of years have medicinal qualities to them. And so the plants that we choose to work with individually, not even just as like the complexity of a formula like Awaken that has 8 compounds in it, 8 plants in it, 9 sometimes, depending on the formulation. Each plant in there has a really strong active quality to it that's doing something, that's working with your body in relationship with your body. And then you're looking at a body of plants inside of that formula, them working together. And so I think it's important for us to honor like the plants as medicine as they always have been. And they're the things that go into our pharmaceuticals. They're also the things that can teach us so much. And it is the reason why we center around plants in every single one of our formula, because humans have trusted and been in relationship with the healing and supportive nature of plants since the very beginning of humans being alive.
It's interesting, Kiana, if I think back to all the work you and I did together, we often would touch that rail of like, the fundamental nature of plants in their medicinal capacity, but we also were tickling the underbelly of the eroticism of the natural world. And like, there's a giggle there, right? And we would recognize that there's a humor, there's a playfulness, there's a delight, there's something fascinating, there's something mysterious. And we would pull that into the dialogue, kind of overcome and chase out some of the shame and some of the shadow and some of the aspects of our own beings that we've had to separate from because the culture has told us that there's something wrong with this form of sexual reproduction. There's something wrong with pleasure. There's something wrong with the fundamental forces that actually generate life on the planet, which is like a really fundamentally difficult thing to like integrate as a person like born into a culture that has those views. So I think, in our work together, trying to weave together a narrative that allows for a multiplicity of expressions of human sexuality, kind of tethered to this notion of the plants. Again, the plants in their medicinal capacity are also really sexual beings, right? And the being part, and not plants as an object, and I'm not going to go full on animistic here because it's not really something that I can fully own to. I'm a modern man born in the modern world. And it's hard to maintain that sense of aliveness with the world that I'm moving through. But I have moments. I have moments of dissolution of boundary. I have moments of remembrance and gratitude and reverence and moments of awe. And, those are the moments that so many of which come through intimate experiences with the world, with my lover, with myself. And so that core current has always been the place that's like sustained, and like we feel so good when we can touch that and we can just like bring a little bit of it in and let people sip on it like they're sipping their ayahuasca, brew. Like that's our medicine that we've tried to like pour into every cup, but a very microdose. Very microdose.
I love it.
That resonates for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And from there, Jon, I would love if you can take us into the vision for Foria as it continues to evolve and it continues to touch lives and change people's worlds and their experiences of how good they feel in their body. Like, what are you excited about, and where are you shepherding Foria towards in this moment?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I really enjoyed it. Been a while since we had the live riff. So thank you both. That's really wonderful to experience. And just sort of pulling a couple of threads out of what you both spoke to there. The opportunity here, the opportunity that we have been applying ourselves to make a meaningful impact in people's lives. Right. And we've chosen initially these domains: intimacy, menstrual pain relief, recently skin hydration, right? These are domains and aspects of people's lives that are so fundamentally important. I think that the opportunity that we have and everything is rooted in the efficacy of the products that we're creating, right? So knowing where we can create products that move the needle for people, it wasn't necessarily apparent or obvious to us. We didn't sit down and say, okay, here's the 6 things we're going to be able to do. I mean, this wasn't right. So the feeling out of this, the community participation aspect of what we've done, right? We've had a lot of, it's been informed by people, right? By people saying, hey, I was using this product for this, and it had these positive outcomes and benefits to me. And we got curious. Oh, I wonder what's going on there. So the intelligence that the plants have, we're just getting hip to it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes like you're doing what with that, and now we have to convince other people to put that where. Okay,
right,
let's go.
So I think it's important to say that we were talking about what's ahead, what's the vision, what's the future. Like, there's no playbook here. Like, this isn't like, okay, turn to page 69 in your playbook and this one, right? Like, we are literally figuring this out as we go, but it's informed by efficacy. It's informed by that really made a difference in my life. Right. And so I think that being careful and thoughtful about how we listen and how we're willing to be curious and experiment will continue, as it has for the past 10 years. That will continue to lead us as we go forward. Now, I'm not trying to be super vague. There are some domains that we know from direct experience, from discussion with community, from looking at our culture and our society, right? Matt's always fond of saying, we are the most distracted human beings that have ever walked the face of the earth.
I was mostly speaking about myself, but yeah, I mean,
but that one has hung around with me, right? Yeah. That one, I keep playing that one back. Like, you look at the state of play for humans right now. It's rough out there, right? With the weapon of mass destruction that we all, or distraction, sorry, that we all have in our hands at all times. There's that. There's the stimuli that are coming in, the information, the cultural challenges, all of the issues, right? So the things,
which just goes back to, like, basically we're providing an arsenal of tools to hand people like you, Kiana, because your work is to pull that down, right? You're putting people back into their bodies so then they can move forward and engage again more effectively and more openly, more confidently in their life. So, we're basically just crafting, we're banging rocks together and crafting tools and, like, passing them over to you to, like, to go cut what needs to be cut and to go build what needs to be built.
Yeah. And so, the essence of things for me is what our products, our suites of products, our collections of products to date have addressed. There's another pillar, right? We talked about the multiple pillars of pleasure and pain relief, and daily use skin hydration products. So these are all things that plants have wonderful ability to move the needle on. Well, what is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, challenges that humans are experiencing today? And it's the ability to relax and rest and to recharge in the face of these massive energy burns or stimuli response existences that have become so hyperactive.
Wait, so you're saying the company that's been trying to turn everyone on for 10 years is now going to try to turn everyone off? This is news to me. I don't work here anymore, but this is news to me.
It's an infinite loop, Matt. They feed into each other.
Great. Want to buy a watch?
Can it be a dimmer?
So, what dreams may come.
Oh, there we go.
Hey now. But no, sleep for me is something, and part of this interesting sort of anecdote about just Matt and I, and sort of when we came to this and started down this path, we were in our early to mid 40s. Well, we're now in our early to mid 50s, and I think that the physiological issues that people, couples, everyone has experienced look different at this point in life than they did at that
He is one
point
of my
in life.
longest relationships. It's true. It's one of my longest relationships.
And so, you know, part of it is just perspective, honestly, right? And so, like, the conversations that I'm in with my peers, my community, are about how crappy everyone's sleeping and how difficult it is to relax and get good rest. Especially for women experiencing physiological changes at this time of life. And, you know, so it's a really different set of conversations. I think the opportunities, therefore, are revealing themselves to us. The fact that the plants have the intelligence to also help with those things is miraculous and wonderful. So we have as big and bigger of a mandate as we ever have. It's just that we're listening, we're responding, and we're playing into what people really want and need in their lives right now.
So here's the clickbait. Yeah. Get ready. Foria will be bringing you 8 hours of foreplay. It's coming. It's coming.
But yes, there's wonderful things ahead.
This is what happens when 10 years of puns becomes a dad.
Dad puns. Dad puns.
Slide with really bad sexual puns.
Well, the science says for sure that sleep is the number one thing that impacts quality of life in all of the other areas we serve, right? If you sleep better, your menstrual cycle is going to be better. Your hormones are going to be more regulated. You're going to be much more functional as a human. If you sleep better, you definitely are going to have more of a libido. Your sex life's going to be better. Your relationship's going to be better. Your parenting will also be better.
Definitely.
And sleep is such a huge issue for women going through perimenopause and menopause because the hormonal changes during that time completely change your sleep life. And so in a way, sleep is this bedrock beneath a lot of the things that we've been addressing in the moment, right? Like our products a lot of them are for in the moment use. And sleep is something that lies underneath all of those to support all of those experiences still. So in my mind, it's like the same mission and the same supportive quality with even this like deeper cut that will go great. And we can support you more around the longevity of these experiences so that they are better, not just in the moment, but as you approach them. So I'm excited about that. I know you guys are excited about it. We're all excited about it.
And it gives us it's like a hug, right? Because now we get to work on the pre and the post. You know, these big spaces, like we can really mind the gap and create this container of real ease for people, which will inform all the other things we're trying to accomplish with our other products. So it really feels like a foundational move for us.
Yeah. And Kiana, use the word longevity. I mean, that's what my attention has gone to in the past few years. I know there's just a lot more important thought leadership and conversation and products that can support, or lifestyle choices that can support a longer health span, right? We're not just trying to live longer, we're trying to live long with vitality and with joy and with mobility in our bodies, right? So I think taking a stand for those things and supporting people in those ways is this next evolution for us.
And I would say that if we're going to lean into longevity, it isn't just personal longevity, it's relational longevity. And that is something that has always been part of our mission and maybe not talked about as much, but so many of our core customers are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, wanting to have a powerful and central intimate life, sex life with their partner. And our products, like that's what our products do for people, you know? And so it's exciting to be supporting people across their entire health span and their entire lifespan to experience more connection, which brings us back to the beginning of our conversation and might be a good place to end this. Like, connection is at the heart of our mission and may it continue to be that.
Yeah. Really great to sit and chat with you both.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss without taking the opportunity. I'm no longer at the company day to day. I actually finally realized that sex can lead to creating children. trial and error. And I'm a happy dad to a 3.5-year-old girl. So I'm like many of you watching, I'm kind of on the outside cheering this group of amazing people on. And I don't often get the chance to speak to you, the community. And, John's spoken to this many times in the past, and as Kiana, that what has sustained this venture has been this community, like the people that you're directly in communication with, Kiana, and the deep nutritive essence that comes from people when something happens in their life that we were a part of. I can't tell you enough, like, how meaningful that is in a double taboo space where everywhere we turn, the world is trying to push us back, go back, go back. That's what drives us forward. So, like, please don't stop. Please overshare. Please reach out to this amazing team and, like, give them whatever you have to share with them in form of gratitude. It does mean a tremendous amount, and I'm deeply thankful for it. So thanks for the opportunity you guys gave me for 8 years to be part of this.
Oh, wow. What a great place to, say thank you to everyone. And thank you too for capturing the lightning in the bottle.
I'm just holding on to the wheel, but it's not connected to the car.
All right, y'all, we're going to say bye for the day. More to come. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.